Hey there, and welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3. My name is Pete, and today we complete what could very well be our final encounter in Act 1, depending on whether or not you count the section that comes afterwards as its separate thing, as many people do. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Last time we left off, after locating the Adamantine Forge in the Underdark, we fought some animated armors, a lava elemental, and finally the Forge's mighty protector, Grim, an adamantine golem. We also unlocked the elusive A Grim Fate achievement by defeating Grim without using the Forge Hammer and using some hammer throw shenanigans instead, and afterwards we forged ourselves two powerful adamantine items. One of them is a suit of heavy armor that Lae'zel is currently wearing, joined in our party by Karlach and Astarion, as we now set out to explore the last region of the map we haven't been to yet, and for that purpose we want to fast travel back to Warkeen's Rest, and from there slowly head southwest.
A dragon rider. My kin are near.
It's huge. Stay low. It might not see us.
You go a lifetime without seeing one, and then they won't stop pestering you.
So, apparently, we just had a dragonfly overhead, and perhaps you remember it from all the way back at the beginning of the playthrough. There was a telescope in the Druid Grove next to a tiefling, and looking through we did indeed spot a rat dragon. Could this be the same? Well, time will tell. Before we approach though, let's dig up some treasure from a little nook by the path here.
Look at these gouges. Something big made these.
Now, for some reason, the line by Sylvia here isn't voiced, or at least it doesn't play, but these marks confirm the presence of a dragon. No telling how long they've been here, but we can reasonably assume that they belong to the same dragon we just saw passing overhead. In any case, we want to be careful as we move closer to where we saw that dragon fly to, and it seems like we're not the only ones.
What are you doing? Hold up before they see you, Gresham!
Well, a tiefling, not with the others back in the grove, that's curious, but perhaps just what we need to learn more about what is happening.
What? Apart from the dragon? Look. That lot are swarming all over the bridge. I don't know what they want, but it can't be good. I'm going to find another way around. You ought to do the same. Unless you're looking for a fight, that is.
So, seems like we've got two groups of soldiers on the bridge. Would be interesting to learn who they are, but for the time being, it is perhaps better to focus on the identity of the one right in front of us.
Nobody. Just another harassing fool trying to stay alive. There's plenty of us around.
And yes, indeed, she seems to have good survival instincts. Maybe she wants to tag along, even if only to get past whatever is happening down below.
What? Just follow you around? I go my own way. Alone. Rag. That's it. I'm getting out of here.
Right, and with that she runs off. Hopefully she makes it out of here safely. We, meanwhile, can take a little moment to loot the chest on the cart over here, full of useful arrows, before we step out onto the lookout to get a better picture of the events on the bridge.
Drop your weapons!
I'll feed your innards to the ants before I do that, Istik.
This is your last chance!
No, look up. That was your last chance, Istik. Now burn!
Stop wasting time, Baretha. You're not here to play with the locals.
Of course, Kith'rak. We merely sought to...
No excuses. Question, kill, then move on. Find the weapon. Our queen watches us. Fail her at your peril.
A red dragon. I envy its knight. Would that I rode such a steed. A creche must be near. Come, my kin await.
Right, looks like we have finally located some of the Githyanki we've been searching for, and they're not exactly oozing hospitality. Nonetheless, Lae'zel wants to approach them. Perhaps it's best if we remind her of that tiny little problem, the dragon.
The dragons serve Githyanki. I'll see it does you no harm. Follow me. We are close to the cure we seek.
Alright, and with that, she runs off too, right into the arms of the Githyanki Patrol.
Kith'rak, we must speak.
At this point, Lae'zel actually leaves the party temporarily, and that means, in theory, we could now head back to camp and put someone else in her place to refill our ranks. However, that would skip a very important bit of dialogue in just a moment, and I think we'll be just fine with the 3 characters here. Nonetheless, it is probably not a bad idea to stay alert. After all, we just saw the Githyanki and their dragon slaughter a patrol of soldiers, and showing zero remorse about it, so who knows how they will react to our little group. For that reason, we put Astarion and Karlach into hiding up here on the bridge, while Sylvia moves up, loots a few barrels and a chest, harvests a balsam plant on the other side of the bridge, and then climbs down to inspect the signpost.
Risen Road, closed due to inclement weather. Seek marked detour.
Now, apart from the destroyed bridge, we can't see any road closures yet, but there is another path here behind us. Let's keep that in mind as we now approach the Githyanki.
Ryder, my time is short. Lead me to...
Shh. Such a familiar tone. Were I not merciful, I would slice the skin clean from your meat. Yet you are not bleeding. For I am nothing if not merciful. Your name, child.
Now, we can earn massive approval from Lae'zel here by allowing her to lead the conversation, and it is also much better for the outcome if we do.
Lae'zel.
Lae'zel. Proud. Regal, even. You will call me Gestil Kith'rak.
Voss, Knight Supreme. The Queen's silver, the Queen's sword.
I am who you say. A Geich vessel has fallen from the sky, Lae'zel. Thieves aboard have taken a weapon most precious. It is polyhedric in shape and inscribed with the sacred runes of our people.
You suddenly feel a strange anxiety take hold. Not your own, but that of the artifact you carry. Somehow, it's afraid. You attune your mind to it. The artifact does not want to fall into the Gith Raiders' hands any more than it does the Absolute followers.
Take word to your Creche. You are to join our search. Speak up, child. Affirm your mandate.
Right, now at this point we could produce the artifact or provoke a fight. However, we want to do neither, as we can actually get the most XP out of this encounter if we end this conversation peacefully, and persuading Lae'zel to play along will hopefully get us just there.
You honor me with this duty, Kith'rak. I shall alert my caretaker with haste.
The Kith'rak nods, content with Lae'zel's answer.
You serve your queen well, child. Take your slaves and hunt those who escaped the Geich ship. They must carry the weapon. I fly now to Vlaakith, our undying queen. She will see your faith rewarded in this plane and ours.
A current of deception carries Voss's words. Wherever he flies, it is not to Vlaakith.
To Danos! To the sky!
Right, so a couple of things to mention here. First of all, we've just earned a collective 475 XP, 100 of which were not displayed. Fighting the Githyanki, meanwhile, would have only earned us a maximum of 405. In addition, Astarion has also earned an inspiration. Had we provoked a fight and won, Lae'zel would have gotten one. The two are mutually exclusive, however. Now, from the fact that we have entered turn-based mode, you can perhaps already guess where this is going. While we won't earn additional XP for taking on the Githyanki here, they have clearly proven to us that they are a danger to us, and won't hesitate to kill if they even get the slightest hunch that we're in possession of the artifact. So while this may seem cruel at first, Remember how they dealt with the soldiers on the bridge. We're only being safe here to ensure our own survival. To that end, we put both Lae'zel and Sylvia into stealth mode, and then attack with a bonus action offhand shot. This ensures we get a surprise round. One of the 4 Gith will also always run off if we do it this way, but like I said, we're not doing this for the XP and there is no need to worry. Regardless of what happens in this encounter, these 4 will never be seen again, even if they survive. The enemy deserving the most attention then is undoubtedly Sarth Baretha, a heavily armored great weapon master who can deal ridiculous amounts of damage and also has the rather annoying ready to parry ability, allowing her to use her reaction to reduce the damage of an incoming attack by 10, although crucially this feature does not work while she is surprised, at least most of the time. The game can be a bit finicky in that regard. Either way, she cannot be allowed to act under any circumstances, and well, to be honest, the same is true for the other 2 Gith as well. They might not quite be on her level, but these are professional warriors, so let's not pull any punches. Sneaking in with Astarion here deals several guaranteed criticals to take out the first enemy. He also gets his action and bonus action back, and up next we'll have him strike at Baretha for maximum damage. Keep in mind that his main hand weapon deals an extra d8 to enemies still at full health. So even with the offhand attack missing, that's a casual 40 points of damage, and since his Dread Ambusher attack uses the main hand weapon too, we'll target the other enemy with that one for maximum carnage. And there we go, that's exactly 100 points of damage dealt in a single turn by Astarion, and his build has not even reached its full potential yet. This brings us then to Sylvia next, and I don't think we need to go crazy here. She did actually get her action back after attacking from stealth, so let's unleash twice on Baretha. If she survives, we will be able to go again before she does. Right, looking good so far. Let's get Kith'rak into the mix, the only way we know how. A little bit of extra crushing damage seals the deal. Let's see if we can do it twice. Well, not quite, but since Kith'rak wasn't spotted during the first throw, she also gets to attack once more, and that should do it. Or not, but with 3 hit points left, Lae'zel can now finish the job. And there we are. Depending on how you tackle it, this can actually be one of the more difficult encounters in Act 1, but we solved it rather smoothly, I think, and with our Githyanki dealing the final blow on her kin, reason enough to have a chat with her now.
Damn it all! You did well to intervene, vexed as I am to admit it. The distilled Kith'rak would have flayed our skin and left our carcasses to burn in the sun. All for the sake of the artifact that we carry. The Creche is near, this much we know. We follow the path forward and into the valley. No one, not even the ignoble distilled Kith'rak, will keep me from my purification.
So, Lae'zel seemingly not too mad at us for taking matters into our own hands with the Githyanki, and like I said, these 4 would not have shown up anywhere else anyway, so it doesn't change much. By the way, if you manage to disarm Kith'rak Voss before initiating the conversation, you can actually obtain a very powerful sword. He'll fly away on the dragon regardless of what happens next, even if a fight breaks out. So this has to be done before starting the conversation. All in all, though, I consider this to be a bit too far on the cheesy side of things, and it also completely skips large parts of the conversation. Speaking of conversation, we have 2 dead bodies here that we can talk to. Let's begin with this one, another tiefling.
The corpse regards you lifelessly.
And as usual, let's begin with proper introductions.
Yule, son of Gara.
Now, we've heard this name before. The tiefling Zorru mentioned it back at the Emerald Grove.
Fellow scout, Druid's Grove.
So, the 2 were scouts. Were there perhaps others that may have survived and could tell us more?
Yes, Zorru fled. Left me to fight.
He mentions a fight, but against whom?
Monstrous warriors. Keen swords. Black spots.
He crossed blades with a Githyanki.
Few survive the ordeal. Fewer still claim victory.
A small bright spot in all of this, maybe he can tell us where the Githyanki came from.
Mountain pass.
The spell's power wanes. You can ask no more questions.
Alright, the mountain pass, the second path to Moonrise Towers that was mentioned by the druid Halsin. Obviously, we want to check it out too, just like we did the Underdark. For the time being, though, we can loot some bodies, another small benefit to actually fighting the Githyanki, although most of the loot here is nothing special. The unique Githyanki sword and crossbow here are just your standard +1 weapons and offer no additional benefits beyond that. There is one exception, and we'll grab it in just a moment, but first let me also show you an easy-to-overlook shield down by the far end of the bridge here.
It's a well-roasted shield.
The dragon is clearly not to be trifled with.
Now at this point we also want to speak to the deceased Baretha, but since we killed her, she won't speak to us. Good thing that Astarion can disguise himself at will as a free ritual spell. How about we make him look like a Githyanki too? Then we can use one of our many scrolls of Speak with Dead. Normally the amulet on Sylvia is used for this, so there is no need to save them.
The corpse regards you lifelessly.
Now, since we know who this is, what she does and why she came here, let us immediately begin asking about the location of the creche.
Mountains.
Alright, not really precise, but perhaps she can tell us whether or not we'll actually find what we're looking for there.
At the creche. Cleansing.
Okay, now that sounds promising. Time to switch gears and ask about the artifact, which the Gith seem to want as a weapon.
All-powerful. Vlaakith's prize.
Very interesting, and we've talked about Vlaakith before. What can she tell us about her?
My queen.
Right, that's about all then. At this point we can leave the conversation early, because there is nothing more to gain. Astarion can switch back to his normal self, and we can loot Baretha's body for the Githyanki Greatsword, dealing an extra d4 psychic damage if wielded by a Githyanki, on top of a +1 bonus to attacks and damage. This makes it the first weapon to actually surpass the Everburn Blade, but only if wielded by Lae'zel. Baretha also has an elaborate slate on her. Taking it triggers another small conversation.
A Githyanki slate. Give it here. Tirsu markings. Could this be?
Magical energy courses through the slate, then to Lae'zel. Your own body buzzes in resonance. A mystical map glows before you, revealing a Githyanki refuge inside a temple within the mountain pass. The slate also reveals the Githyanki's purpose. They are combing the Sword Coast in search of a polyhedric relic of great importance to their queen.
Zoru did not lie. We will soon reach a Githyanki Creche. It lies within an ancient temple at the mountain pass. Hurry forth. Purification is at hand.
Alright, this here, another way to find out about the creche's location, and the path to the mountain pass lies straight ahead.
Road closed. Detour ahead.
Now, road closure or not, this is the way we need to go if we want to leave the area. But before we do, let us take care of some final to-dos, starting with a short tour of that other path we spotted behind the bridge earlier.
That might be worth a look.
I'm way too big.
Through this small burrow hole, we can actually get down into what was once the Goblin camp. That is, if we find a way to shapeshift into a smaller creature. Since we've already cleared the place, there is no need for that though. So instead, let's grab the contents of another crate here, harvest another plant, and dig up another treasure. The loot inside is once again randomized for all I know, but decent nonetheless. And with that, we can now do a little bit of trade hopping to unload all the remaining unwanted items that have piled up over the course of these 37 episodes. We start fairly close by, inside the Zentarim hideout underneath Warkeen's Rest, where we can strike a deal with the trader Brem to unload 447 gold worth of goods, a decent start, but far from everything.
Pleasure.
So, moving on, we fast travel back to the Underdark and approach the hobgoblin trader Blurg. From him, we not only receive a whopping 1,800 gold, but also Melv's first staff, useful to increase spell attack rolls and spell save DC, a nice general purpose piece of equipment for someone like Gale.
Very well. I have mushrooms to catalogue.
Now, the Mind Flayer Omelium did not have anything of interest, but Dareth Bonecloak here did. A few more alchemy ingredients that I'm sure we'll start using someday. Finally then, I spent a good half hour off-screen going through the various campsites. At this point, we have access to 7 different one of them in total, and our party members have a few items of value that respawn in each one of them. So, for example, we can grab 7 valuable separatory funnels from Gale's tent, and those should fetch us a nice price, as we now return to the last available trader here in Act 1, located at the Emerald Grove. Now, as we make our way towards the sacred pool where all the druids hang out, we notice some goblins still in the area. For all I know, this here is a bugged encounter that can occur after Minthara and her goblins have raided the grove. It makes little sense, of course, for them to stand here waiting until we arrive, but that's exactly what they do. At this point in the game, with our party already halfway to level 7, they do of course not pose too much of a threat anymore. If we really wanted to, Sylvia could probably take on the entire group here by herself, but we'll leave some for the druids, just making sure that those early initiative enemies are taken care of. And there we go. With a moonbeam, Korga takes out the last goblin, we earn a few more XP, and can now finally trade with Aaron. Unloading our camp valuables actually earns us around 800 gold, so definitely don't sleep on this. The remaining funds are turned into more alchemy ingredients. And with that, I think we have finally reached the point where we can return to camp and take a long rest. It's been quite a while since the last time, mostly because I wanted to keep that Bliss Spore bonus active. But the next long rest event actually fits very nicely to what happened here today in this episode. Before we hit the hay though, let's talk to our companions.
That contraption's a hot ticket item. Might not be our last scrap for its sake.
Githyanki patrolling these wilds is an unexpected surprise. Whatever they seek, they'll not hesitate to kill us if we stand in their way.
The Gith Knight is as merciless as the dragon he rides. That we still have our heads is nothing short of a miracle.
If the Gith are looking for that artifact, then we may have something valuable on our hands. And it's a powerful weapon to boot. Things are starting to look very interesting.
Most importantly, we can now speak to Shadowheart, who's still the owner of that all-important artifact.
Seems the Githyanki are keen to reclaim the artifact I carry. I can't afford that to happen. In fact, none of us can. That thing is shielding us somehow. I don't want to know what happens if we lose it.
At this point, we can also question her a bit more about the artifact. After all, she was the one sent to acquire it, so it's hard to imagine that she's got no idea at all what all of the fuss is about.
I only know what I know. I was ordered to retrieve it, and that's what I intend to do. The rest is immaterial to me.
Alright, sadly not much to go on, but the story surrounding this artifact is far from over. In fact, as we now end the day, it is only just beginning.
You carry a Githyanki relic. I will have an explanation, or your head.
Walk away. Now. I won't warn you again.
Right, Lae'zel and Shadowheart are arguing, and we can guess what about. Best we hear it from them, though, before making assumptions.
Lae'zel thinks I have something important to her people. She's deluded, clearly.
Lies. She carries an heirloom of my people. I must know why.
And while Lae'zel makes a very good point here, so does Shadowheart, and I would say, at least for the time being, maintaining the artifact's protection over our camp is a bit more important than finding out about its origins, so let's agree with Shadowheart.
You hear that, Lae'zel? It's called common sense.
You seek reason in dishonor.
Now, despite the fact that we just picked a side, we of course do not want them to keep squabbling, especially not since we're getting closer and closer to finding the Githyanki Creche.
Incorrect. Judicious bloodletting settles feuds and roots out the weak, the deceitful.
Do you hear this, tribe? Our lives are at stake, and she wants us to turn on each other.
No others. Just you and me.
Right, while we could now send them both off to bed and leave it at that, I consider Sylvia to be a more practical person, so let's try to find out how to solve this here and now.
The bad blood must be purged. A jewel, come first light.
You mean I'd get to prove you wrong and thrash you? I love it. Get some rest, Lae'zel. You'll need it. You had every chance to look the other way, but here we are. You chose this.
Spare me the justifications, coward.
If anyone asks, I'll say you were transforming. Don't expect to be mourned.
Right, only sensible from Shadowheart really not to wait for a duel with Lae'zel. However, we of course do not want her to proceed with whatever she's got planned here, and the DC 10 persuasion option here will hopefully get her to calm down, not to mention that it also earns us approval from the rest of the party.
She's a liability. It's the artifact we need, not her.
Let me up, and I'll show you.
Now, both options here lead to the same outcome and no approval can be gained either way. It was Shadowheart who started this though, so let's tell her to ease off.
Can I do that, Lae'zel? Can I turn my back on you?
Never. Thieves aren't afforded such luxury.
Loosen the grip on your pride for one blasted moment, won't you? We needn't be enemies. There's plenty of those to go around already.
What would you have? That we be friends?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But imagine what we might achieve if we channeled some of that hostility back at our real foes, instead of each other. They wouldn't stand a chance.
Alright, so seems like we have diffused the situation, at least for now. Nonetheless, the fact that it is a Githyanki artifact that currently protects us from the tadpole's full power is certainly not ideal. And like I said, especially since we are about to venture into Githyanki territory. Now at this point we could continue our long rest, but considering what just happened, we might want to chat to our companions once more.
I really thought Shadowheart and Lae'zel might fight to the death over that artifact. A pity. It would have made for a fine night's entertainment.
Very glad Shadowheart and Lae'zel settled things without letting any blood. I would have enjoyed the spectacle, but not losing either one of those lunatics.
I'll say one thing for our troop. We're not short on drama. I'm glad Shadowheart and Lae'zel settled their differences peacefully. Eventually.
I hope that's the end of this silly quarrel. They'll have no energy for battling our enemies if Lae'zel and Shadowheart are too busy squabbling among themselves.
And of course, we can also speak to the two troublemakers themselves.
Speak. Quickly.
And well, of course we want to talk about what just happened, and whether or not Lae'zel harbors any lingering hard feelings.
It is over where I am concerned.
Right, as believable as that may sound, let us still drive home the point that we need to stand together. And I feel like with every passing day, that need only increases.
It is through conflict that we strengthen our bonds. Yet I do not recommend Shadowheart seek it again. The next resolution may not end in her favor.
And with one half of the argument spoken to, it is of course only fair that we now speak to the other.
I was hoping you'd come to chat. What do you need?
Shadowheart seems to be all charming now, but let's not forget how serious things got just a few moments ago.
We aren't dear friends now, if that's what you're asking. But I trust we can all sleep a little more soundly in camp now.
And once again, we want to make sure that this remains a one-time occasion. However, considering the two of them have been squabbling with each other ever since they met, it might be prudent to keep a close eye on both of them.
Relax. We'll kiss and make up on our own time. Someone prodding at a newly opened wound doesn't help matters.
Alright, and with those reassuring words, we can now hopefully finish our long rest. Let's see if any further interruptions await us. Right, thankfully the rest of the night passes peacefully, and on the next morning we can see that Scratch has something for us, so let's cast Speak with Animals and approach.
The dog is unable to speak through the small bag he holds in his mouth.
Right, seems like the dog has found something useful for us. Let's find out what it is.
I don't know. Maybe you can tell me. All I know is I thought of you when I saw it.
Alright, and just like that, another healing potion is added to our stockpile. And of course, for a find like that, Scratch has earned himself a reward. And there we are, finally long rested again and ready to embark on the next chapter of this adventure. Traveling to the mountain pass is officially the point where several of the important Act 1 quests automatically resolve itself, unless we do so first, which we have done in the case of all of them. The main reason why the area is often considered more of an Act 1.5, even though we can freely travel to and from the mountain pass without any penalties, just like we could back in the Underdark. Officially, it is of course still part of the game's first act, so we keep this series going for a little while longer still. For today though, I think we have reached a good point to make the cut. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can of course also go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or become a channel member or Patreon supporter. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.